Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 11 of Petty Please. Before we get into the stories for today, just a reminder to please engage with the content. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review to help the channel grow. If you are on YouTube, like, comment, share the video, subscribe for more. And if you are checking us out on socials, please leave a comment with your thoughts on stories. Now let's get into the pettiness for today. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/pro-revenge. You cheat with the guy I hate the most. I can play that too. So I went to use my wife's phone and she had Facebook open and she was speaking to this piece of shit that I used to be good friends with. Little background on the guy, he wasn't from the old neighborhood, so we became friends over basketball, and I would protect him from troubles, but as years go by, I notice he's into girls younger than him, so I can't be friends or associate with that. We get into a fight, he had to get his jaw wired shut. No more about him. So my ex-wife was talking to him, and she's being somewhat naive. She didn't know he was flirting with her. He said they should meet one day over coffee on Wednesday, and she agreed. At this time, she and I were through a rough patch. We got married young at 19, but I thought she was the one for me, and we've had 3 kids since. I call my boss and tell him I need Wednesday off because of family issues, and he told me it's fine. I read her messages again, and they agreed to meet at Starbucks. So when it was time for them to meet up, I pretend to go to work, but wait outside a block away. I see he picked her up and go to Starbucks in downtown. I follow them there and stay in the car. At this time, I'm texting all my friends saying the old me came back and what's going on. 2 of my friends are lawyers, and thankfully they helped me write up a separation and start the divorce papers. I follow the pieces of shit out of Starbucks and see that they are going to his house. Now I just park and give it 2 minutes before I knock on the door. So when I knock on the door, I head down so they can't see me through the peephole, and when I hear the door opening up, I barge in and he looks at me like he saw a ghost. I saw my ex-wife in her bra, and all I say, "So this is what you do in your free time?" I leave. She chases me outside crying, saying how she doesn't know what's going on with her, how they didn't have sex, but I quickly told her to F off. Don't come back to the house, and if I see you with him, ask him what will happen. As I'm leaving, he throws her out, and I see he was really scared. Which, to be fair, I've done bad in my past. Yes, but he knows me, and he knows the shit I've done, and knows what I'm capable of doing. I go on her Facebook and read a message from him saying, "Stay the F away from me." She tries coming back to the house, and I tell her if she steps any more into the house, I will tell her whole family what she did. She walks out crying, asking for her stuff, and I just threw that trash outside and told her to F off. One of my friends came to my house, who happens to be a cop, and says the piece of shit filed a restraining order on me and my wife, saying we have to be 100 feet away from him. He knew what was going and told me how some word got to some people, how the piece of shit has an effed up fetish, and how he was avoiding some people, and he happened to be dropped off at the old neighborhood after he filed the restraining orders. I told him I want a restraining order on my wife until we get the divorce. Soon, I tell the kids how we won't be seeing Mom for a while, and I call her from an app telling her she can explain herself to the kids, and she can have the kids on the weekend, but to stay away from me. I cut her before she says the whole "I'm sorry, forgive me" bullshit. So now the real revenge comes as we're going through the divorce. We have to go through an online course for the kids, which was the most pointless $20 I've ever spent. We have everything settled. Judge agreed that the prenup is valid, so the bitch doesn't get any alimony. We sell the house and split it 50-50. I use my half to get a nice loft and still have some money left to get a new car. We're in court now, and the judge tells us, "Do you guys really have everything settled?" I'm happy, I'm saying yes, but she decides to burst out crying again, saying she's not this and that, and thanks to that we had to go to child support, where kids have to say where they want to live. I thought about telling them how Mommy doesn't believe in Santa Claus, but I didn't. I accepted the weekends to have the kids because since she didn't really work, and she went to move back to her parents who have more than enough money to maintain all of the kids, But because of my job, I can't pick up 2 of them from school and keep a 2-year-old at my job. But I was happy. Her little sister came over to drop off the kids and asked me how I was feeling. Quickly used it to my benefit and told her how I felt lonely and sad because I lost the one true love in my life. Her sister stayed over and made the kids and I dinner, and she stayed after to talk, and I told her how much I missed being with her sister, but what she did isn't forgivable, and she was agreeing with me, and then we started kissing, and it led to sex. I started working out and get into better shape and maintain a bit of a relationship with her sister until I FaceTimed her one day and my ex-wife was around and she heard my voice and all I heard was them two arguing how she betrayed her and how my ex apparently told her to see if there was any chance to get back together. I forgave my ex-wife, to be honest, but I didn't want to talk to her or see her. Now her cousins took turns bringing the kids over, and then I did the sob story to her cousins, and one of them I started to be friends with benefits with them. Then my ex-wife came over once, but I told her to stay outside and she's not allowed inside. She tried saying how she's been to therapy and how she's a new person and just wanted a chance. I forgave her, but she started to make me mad because I was just done with her. I accidentally blurted how I slept with her cousin and she started to cry and I left her outside to cry. Now I've moved on. I'm friends with benefits with 2 girls who I'd date any one of them. I'm still young, only 29. My ex-wife had gotten in bad shape while I'm going to the gym and working on myself constantly. I mean, I do miss a lot of the things she's done for me, but what she did was bad and I'll never let it go. Whew. Definitely pro-revenge. You went there and you went there hard. Yes, she deserved it. Cheating is wrong. She fully deserved it. But also, I feel like it takes a certain kind of person to get revenge the way that you did. And I don't like that either. Yeah, and also, like, I get she's upset she ruined a good thing, but just to keep coming back begging when you're the one that ruined it, I mean, let it go. You got the kids. You got half of the house sale. Move on. All right. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. They suspended me for misunderstanding, so I took the best, much-needed vacation at their expense. On a Monday night, I asked my manager if I could have my morning shift covered. He said, no worries, the new girl is coming in to train and there will be plenty of servers for the slow lunch rush. Sounded good to me. The next day, the owner, who has the patience of a caffeinated squirrel, messages me asking why I did not show up. I told him exactly what my manager said. He said, she is not a real server yet, and the way he saw it, I missed my shift because I did not have another waiter to cover for me. So, he suspended me for a week. I am their best waiter, never late, always on time, and pulling in the best reviews. Some reviews on Google even have my name in them. But I just said, all right, boss, see you in a week. So I did what any overworked employee would do. I slept in, watched movies, played disc golf, and hung out with my friends and girlfriend. It was the most relaxing week I've ever had. On Friday night, the owner calls me begging for help. They were so short-handed, they were practically using the dishwashers as waiters. He wanted me to come in for Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning, all while I was still on suspension. I told him I had not learned my lesson yet and could not possibly come in. When I came back the next week, everyone was very, very nice to me. They are still all right. I mean, that's poor communication among the management because manager said yes, owner's like, no, that wasn't good enough. It's already happened. It's too late, and especially when you are that good of an employee. I hate it when, for either misunderstandings or first offenses, companies do not give grace. Especially like for someone with a clean record who is just such an exemplary employee, and you're not going to give them grace. You're just going to be like, oh, nope, I don't agree, you're suspended. And then after first having the nerve to do that, you're also then going to beg them to come in for work while you threw them out. Insanity. I am so glad it took you the full week to learn your lesson. And I hope they learned theirs too. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Be careful who you share your email with. This happened a few years ago, but one of the best petty revenges I've gotten. I have a younger sister who I'll call Kay. We are only 13 months apart. Despite our close ages, we are very different from one another. We joke that I am the sun child, she is the moon child, a way of saying we're as different as night and day. But despite this, we run in similar circles. I know her friends know me, and we all would hang out from time to time. One day, my sister's friend invited her to a party where a lot of our mutuals would be. I wasn't close with the party host, so I wasn't invited. Totally fine, I didn't care. Anyways, after that party, one of our mutuals texts me. He tells me that Kay, in an effort to garner attention, told everyone at the party something personal that I confided in her. The friend who notified me was aware of this personal info prior to the party and realized how inappropriate the information was for her to be sharing. Some background info. My sister has always been the type to do what she could for attention. She was always the loudest, most dramatic, or the most energetic in every group of friends she had. As an adult, she has even admitted to being an attention seeker and would often play up her reactions to things for attention. This includes throwing me or others under a bus, revealing things that weren't hers to reveal, or outright lying about certain situations she wasn't involved in. Needless to say, I was very angry when my friend told me what personal information she shared at the party. Rather than confronting her for the 1,000th time, which never got her behavior to change, I decided to be petty. I decided to sign her up for every newsletter, random club update, political campaign support subscription, medical journal subscription, and any other email subscription I could get my hands on. All of them, I knew, would spam her every day multiple times a day. I ended up putting her email into almost 50 different newsletters and subscriptions to bog up her email. That next family gathering, she mentioned how she thinks she was hacked because she's getting endless emails and texts about random things she never signed up for. She chalked it up to probably being some guy she was arguing with over the internet a day or so prior to the emails flooding in. I agreed it was probably that guy, and told her that maybe she shouldn't try to get on people's bad sides in the future by keeping to herself. I told her a year later what I did, and she goes, "That was you?" And after explaining why I did it, she apologized for having told people at the party, and we made up. In the end, no one got hurt, but she finally got to feel as frustrated as I was, and I regret nothing. I love this. This, to me, is the perfect petty revenge because, like you said, nobody got hurt. She possibly learned her lesson in the end, and you guys were still able to make up and have a relationship after. So for me, this one is a big win. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Moving exactly 19 miles away. So in the past, me and my ex, just split, were living in an area we had lived in for about 20 years, with a small gap of here and there. But we grew up in the town we went to school there. It was home. So in the past, me and my ex, just split, were living in an area we had lived in for about 20 years, with a small gap of here and there, but we grew up in the town we went to school there. It was home. After the divorce, we both still lived in the same area. Kids went to school, all our friends and the kids' friends were in the area. Again, this was home. Well, one day I hear from her that she's moving 40 minutes north. Now this was kind of out of the blue. It's fine. But per the order, if she moves further than 20 miles away, she needed to have told me. But perhaps it was 19, so she waited until the last second to tell me. So now I needed to figure out logistics for kids' school and my son's special needs therapy. It was a headache. I had to take super long lunch breaks to take them to school when they were with me. Well, lately I've been looking to move, and I found a place that would save me a ton per month without losing much space. And bonus points, it's 19 miles away. So yes, I'm being a petty POS, and I'm planning on moving, and I'll tell her the same time frame she gave me back then, 9 days. I mean, I love this one too. I think this one is a perfect petty revenge. Nobody's getting hurt. You are thoroughly exactly within the rules of the divorce agreement. or the custody agreement. And I mean, you got something you needed. You saved money. You didn't lose much space. It's a win for everybody. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. She always called me just the boyfriend, so I helped her move quietly. My girlfriend's sister never liked me. Every time we were around family, she'd say stuff like, "You're just her boyfriend, not family," or "Don't get too comfortable." I let it slide for over a year because I didn't want to start drama. A few months ago, she needed help moving apartments. Nobody else was free, and she asked me. I said sure, showed up early, loaded the truck, even brought her a coffee. She was kind of shocked. When we finished, she just looked at me and said, "I didn't think you'd actually show." I just smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm just the boyfriend of your sister, remember?" She stared at me for a second and acted like she was guilty. She's been way more respectful since. Top comment on that one is, "The way of the gentleman." And the next comment after that says, "Right? This is the most kind revenge I've ever read." I agree. You literally killed her with kindness in the best way possible. And I love that you proved her wrong. Like, I don't even think this is petty. You were just a good human and you showed up and proved her wrong. I love it. I wouldn't call it petty, but that one's a feel-good story to me for sure. Story number 6 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. You want to claim my answers as your own? Okay. When I was in 10th grade, we had a new student who quickly got into the crowd of guys who liked to bully me, the quiet kid at school. He made fun of my tennis shoes once, claiming his were much more expensive. They were clear plastic on top and you could see his socks through them. And that I could probably buy like 5 pairs of mine for what he paid for his. Me, thinking that was a poor financial decision because my parents raised me to be super frugal, just replied, "Okay," and left it at that. 3 days later, he wore the shoes to watch the school's football game, and they cracked in the cold and were ruined. Another time, we were in history class, and were playing a game where the class was divided into 2 teams, and one person from each team would go up to the whiteboard, wait for the teacher to ask a question, and write the answer as fast as possible before the other person did, to win a point for your team. When it was my turn, the same kid was my opponent. We were asked the first question, and I thought I knew the answer, and so did he. So we started writing furiously, but I finished before him. He realized our answers were different and called out my answer as if it had been what he'd guessed all along, and by declaring it verbally, would get the point first. We were both wrong, so we got a second question. Each set of opponents got 3 tries to get a point before they had to sit down and move on to the next. Same thing, the teacher asks a question, we both start writing rapidly. His handwriting is so chicken scratch that it's illegible. I finish first. He points at my answer and calls it out loud, trying to get credit. Once again, the answer was wrong. Last chance to earn a point. I'm beginning to pick up a pattern. The teacher asks the question. I realize I still do not know the answer. But a light comes on when I realize he's waiting for me to put my answer on the board because he doesn't know either. So I go, "Oh," and start writing something on the board really fast. And when I step back, he pointed at my answer, not having bothered to write one of his own, and read it off. "Stupid! Hey!" The class lost their shit, and the teacher tried her best to tell me that wasn't nice, but she was failing to suppress her laughter. In the end, my team lost, but I felt like I'd won. I'm so glad you were that quick thinking. I feel like under the pressure of the game for points, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have noticed that he was just copying you. And I almost bet he didn't do it again after this. I really like this. It was easy, it was simple, and you didn't get in trouble. You didn't hurt anybody. Nothing wrong with this. Story number 7 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Bathroom break the door down. Was on my way to class one day recently and had to stop at a gas station bathroom for an emergency poop session. I'm in there for like 2 minutes when someone jiggled the handle, found it locked, then knocked on the door. I said, "Someone's in here," thinking that would be enough to deter them till I was finished. Not even a full minute later, another handle jiggle followed by a more forceful knock. "Someone's in here. I said again. Another minute, maybe a minute and a half passes max. Another bout of furious knocking. Me getting fed up. Someone's still in here. To which this lady replied, well, when are you coming out? I said, I don't know, you'll just have to wait. At this point, I was done using the bathroom, but she pissed me off so much that I stayed in there for another 10 minutes, just playing on my phone. And she got fed up and left. Edit, there was another single-person bathroom next to the one I was in. She had options. She chose not to use them. She was just being dumb. Like, if there's another one available, someone's in there. If there's single stalls, you're going to know when somebody comes out of it. If you just go wait outside, like in the hallway or wherever, outside the bathroom doors. There's no need to knock repeatedly. You tried the handle, it was locked, you wait. Or you leave, you go somewhere else. Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel like it's a common thing when people try to rush a lot of people that they will deliberately go slower to inconvenience them because how dare you try to rush me? I feel that. So I don't know if I wouldn't have stayed in a public bathroom for 10 minutes just using my phone, but definitely the discomfort of somebody waiting outside and being that annoying about it, I probably would have stayed until I thought she was gone. Yeah, so good call here. Another simple, easy one. All right. That is 7 stories for this week's episode of Petty Please. That is us done for the day. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time on another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Bye.